Jackie Chan hit the mat so hard the first row felt the vibration through the floor, and Bruce Lee stood over him, turning to 3,000 spectators with one dismissive wave of his hand. This kid couldn't fight. But when Jackie dragged himself upright, blood threading down his lip, something behind his eyes shifted into a gear no one in that arena had ever seen before. What happened in the next 90 seconds would become Hong Kong legend, a story whispered about for decades. Bruce Lee's fist stopped 2 inches from Jackie Chan's face. Jackie didn't flinch, and that single moment, that frozen heartbeat where a 20-year-old stuntman refused to blink in front of the most dangerous man on the planet, set off a chain of events that nobody in Hong Kong cinema would ever forget. What happened in the next 45 minutes would become Golden Harvest Studios legend, a story whispered about for decades by every stuntman, every director, every actor who ever threw a punch on camera in Asia. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back. It's 1971, Hong Kong. The film industry there is a machine, and that machine runs on one fuel: martial arts. Every studio pumps out kung fu movies the way Detroit pumps out cars. And right now, one man sits at the absolute top of that mountain. Bruce Lee has just finished filming The Big Boss. He hasn't even released it yet, but word has already spread through every back lot and training hall in the city. Bruce Lee is different. Bruce Lee is real. The guy doesn't just act like he can fight. He can actually destroy you. Now here's the thing most people don't understand about Bruce Lee in 1971. He's not just famous. He's untouchable. Directors don't argue with him. Producers don't challenge him. Stuntmen don't look him in the eye for too long. The man carries himself with a gravity that makes everyone around him smaller. And he knows it. Believe me, he knows it. Jackie Chan is nobody. I need you to hear that clearly. In 1971, Jackie Chan is absolutely, completely, thoroughly nobody. He's a skinny kid who came out of the China Drama Academy, a brutal Peking opera school where they train children by beating technique into their bones from age 7. He can flip, he can tumble, he can take a hit. But in the hierarchy of Hong Kong action cinema, Jackie Chan is furniture. He's a background body. He gets thrown through breakaway tables. He gets kicked off balconies. He catches the hero's elbow with his face so the camera can make the star look good. That's his job. That's all his job is. And his boss, the man who decides whether Jackie eats this week or starves, is Bruce Lee. Here's what nobody tells you. Jackie was assigned to Bruce Lee's second film, Fist of Fury, as a stuntman, one of many, a body in the crowd. His job was simple: get hit by Bruce Lee, fly backward, hit the ground, don't complain. But Jackie had a problem. Jackie couldn't just do the minimum. Something inside that kid wouldn't let him just fall down and lie there. He had to add something, a flip, a twist, a reaction that was just a little too good, a little too alive. And on a Bruce Lee set, being too alive was dangerous, because nobody was supposed to look more interesting than Bruce. The tension started small. First day on set, Bruce choreographed a sequence where he'd kick 8 stuntmen in rapid succession. Standard stuff. Each guy takes the hit, spins away, drops. When Bruce's foot connected with Jackie's chest, Jackie launched himself backward with a flip that carried him 6 feet through the air before he crashed into a stack of wooden chairs that shattered on impact. The crash was so spectacular that the entire crew turned to look. A few guys on the camera team actually started clapping. Jackie popped up off the ground, dusted himself off, and grinned. Bruce didn't grin. Bruce's jaw tightened. He turned away and called for the next setup. Get this. That moment right there, that was the first crack. Because Bruce Lee had spent years building a system where he was the center of every frame. His philosophy was total control. The star moves, the world reacts. And here was this nobody stuntman pulling focus with his falls. It was small, but Bruce noticed everything. Second day was worse. They were shooting the dojo fight scene, the famous one where Bruce takes on an entire Japanese martial arts school by himself. Jackie was one of the Japanese fighters. His job: attack Bruce, get demolished. Simple. But when Jackie charged in, he threw a combination that was just a hair too fast, just a shade too precise. Bruce had to actually adjust his counter, had to move his feet. It was barely visible on camera, but Bruce felt it, and Bruce Lee did not like having to adjust. After the take, Bruce walked over to the stunt coordinator, a veteran named Han Ying Chi. Bruce spoke quietly, but Jackie was close enough to hear every word. "Who's the kid?" Han told him. "Jackie Chan, opera school. Good tumbler. Reliable." Bruce shook his head. "He's sloppy. He's throwing real speed at me. Tell him to slow down or I'll replace him." Jackie heard all of this. He stood 12 feet away, pretending to stretch, but his hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else entirely. From the effort of keeping his mouth shut. Now I want you to understand something about Jackie Chan at 20 years old. This kid had been beaten with canes since he was 7. His opera school master would strike students across the hands, the back, the legs for the smallest mistake. Jackie had learned to absorb punishment the way most people learn to breathe. It was automatic. But he'd also learned something else in that school, something nobody expected. He'd learned that the guy who gets hit the best is the guy the audience watches, not the one throwing the punch, the one taking it. Jackie understood even at 20 that reaction was everything. So when Bruce Lee called him sloppy, Jackie didn't argue. He didn't defend himself. He pulled his speed back the next take, did exactly what he was told. Fell down clean, stayed down, made Bruce look like a god. But something was building. I swear this happened. 3 days into shooting, Bruce decided to hold an open demonstration at the Golden Harvest compound. This wasn't unusual. Bruce loved showing what he could do. He'd invite crew, actors from other productions, studio executives, sometimes even people off the street. He'd demonstrate Jeet Kune Do, his personal fighting system, and he'd use stuntmen as his demonstration partners, his punching bags. The word went out and people came. This particular demonstration drew big numbers. 3,000 people packed into the outdoor training area behind the main soundstage. They stood on walls, climbed lighting rigs, sat on the roofs of parked cars. Everyone wanted to see Bruce Lee move in person. And Bruce fed on it. He absolutely fed on crowds. The demonstration started the way they always did. Bruce warming up, throwing kicks that snapped the air so hard you could hear them 20 rows back. He broke boards. He did the famous 1-inch punch, sending a man twice his size stumbling back 5 feet from a standing position with barely any wind-up. The crowd went crazy. Bruce was electric that day. Shirt off, every muscle visible, moving with a speed that made your eyes lie to you. You'd see his hand in one position, then it was somewhere else, and you never saw the middle part, just the start and the end. Then Bruce called for volunteers from the stunt team. He wanted to demonstrate defensive applications. How Jeet Kune Do could neutralize any attack. He'd done this 100 times. A stuntman would attack, Bruce would intercept, redirect, and put the guy on the ground in under 2 seconds. It was choreographed to look spontaneous, but everyone knew the script. Here's where it changed. Jackie Chan was standing near the back of the stunt group, trying to stay invisible, but the stunt coordinator pointed at him. Jackie's stomach dropped. He walked forward through the crowd of stuntmen, stepped into the open circle in front of 3,000 people, and stood across from Bruce Lee. Bruce looked at him, really looked at him, not the way you look at a tool you're about to use, more like the way you look at something that's been annoying you, and now you finally have it in front of you. "This one," Bruce said into the microphone, gesturing at Jackie, "is from the stunt team. Good tumbler, trains hard, but he can't fight." Bruce said it casually, the way you'd mention the weather. 3,000 people heard it, some of them laughed. Jackie stood there, arms at his sides, face absolutely blank, but his fists closed, slowly, knuckle by knuckle. Mark this moment, because everything that happens from here grows from that sentence. He can't fight. Said in front of 3,000 people. Said by the most respected martial artist on earth. Said to a kid who had spent his entire life being told he wasn't enough. Bruce gestured for Jackie to attack. Jackie stepped forward and threw a straight punch. Bruce intercepted it, trapped Jackie's wrist and swept his legs. Jackie hit the ground. The crowd cheered. Bruce released him and Jackie got up. "Again," Bruce said. Jackie came in with a combination this time. Faster. Bruce parried, sidestepped, and popped Jackie in the ribs with a short punch that buckled his knees. Jackie gasped but stayed on his feet. The crowd murmured. Bruce hadn't pulled that shot as much as he usually did with stuntmen. Jackie felt the bruise forming already, a hot circle of pain spreading across his side. "See?" Bruce addressed the audience. "No structure. He attacks with instinct, not with system." Now here's the thing you need to know. Bruce was right, at least technically. Jackie's fighting in 1971 was not sophisticated martial arts. It was opera school acrobatics mixed with street timing. Jackie could take a punch better than almost anyone alive, and his reflexes were supernatural, but he wasn't a trained fighter in the way Bruce meant it. Bruce meant science. Bruce meant angles, interception theory, economy of motion. Jackie fought the way a cat fights, pure reaction, and Bruce didn't respect that. To Bruce, fighting without philosophy was just flailing. But here's what Bruce got wrong. Listen to me carefully. Bruce mistook Jackie's style for weakness. That was his blind spot. Bruce believed so deeply in his own system that anything outside it looked like nothing. And that belief was about to cost him. Again, Bruce said. Third time. Jackie stood up straight. He rolled his neck, and something shifted in his posture. It was subtle. His weight dropped an inch. His hands came up slightly, not in a fighting stance exactly, but in a position of readiness that didn't match anything Bruce had seen before. It wasn't kung fu. It wasn't boxing. It wasn't karate. It was just Jackie, coiled and waiting. Jackie attacked. But this time, he didn't go for Bruce's body. He went low, shooting for the legs with a move that looked half like a wrestling takedown and half like an acrobatic slide. Bruce, who was expecting a punch or kick, had to scramble. He sprawled backward, barely stuffing the takedown, and for one fraction of a second, he was off balance. His back heel lifted off the ground. The crowd went silent. 3,000 people, and not one of them made a sound. Jackie didn't complete the takedown. He knew better than to actually put Bruce Lee on the ground in front of 3,000 people. He pulled back, rolled away, and came up on his feet 5 yards away. But the damage was done. Everyone had seen it. Bruce Lee, for one heartbeat, had been caught off guard. His heel had come up. His weight had shifted backward. In martial arts terms, his root was broken. For one instant, Bruce Lee was not in control. Bruce's nostrils flared. His chest expanded with a breath that he held for a beat too long. He reset his stance and pointed at Jackie. Come, one word, not into the microphone, directly at Jackie. And Jackie heard something in that voice that made the hair on his arms stand up. Bruce was angry, actually angry. Not performing anger for the crowd, the real thing. Now you tell me what you'd do in that moment. You're 20 years old. You're a nobody. The most dangerous martial artist walking the earth just told you to come at him, and he's not pretending anymore. Every smart cell in your body says, go down easy. Take the fall. Let the man have his moment. Every survival instinct says fold. Jackie Chan stepped forward. He came in with a 3-punch combination, fast and clean, then pivoted and threw a spinning back kick that missed Bruce's head by maybe 4 inches. Bruce ducked it. The kick whistled past his ear. And now Bruce's eyes changed. Something behind them ignited. He fired back with a side kick that caught Jackie in the hip and sent him sideways. Jackie absorbed it, turned the momentum into a roll, and came back up on his feet. He didn't fall down, he didn't stay on the ground. He came right back up, hands ready, breathing hard, bleeding from a scrape on his elbow where he'd hit the concrete. And then Jackie did something that nobody expected. Absolutely nobody. He smiled at Bruce Lee. Not a nervous smile, not a submissive smile, a real one. A smile that said, I'm still here. The crowd exploded. They started shouting, stamping their feet. They'd come to watch Bruce Lee be perfect, and instead they were watching something they'd never seen before. Someone who wouldn't break. Bruce held up his hand. The crowd quieted. He was breathing through his nose, controlled, the way he always breathed. But his eyes were locked on Jackie with an intensity that made the stunt coordinator step forward slightly, ready to intervene if necessary. This is where it gets complicated, because what happened next wasn't a fight. It was a conversation conducted in fists and feet. Bruce came at Jackie. Not a demonstration anymore. He threw a jab-cross combination that was faster than anything he'd shown the crowd during the demonstration. Jackie blocked the jab, ate the cross on his forearm, and fired back with an elbow that Bruce slipped by turning his head. The exchange lasted maybe 4 seconds. But in those 4 seconds, something became clear to everyone watching. Jackie Chan could take whatever Bruce Lee gave him. He couldn't beat Bruce. Nobody watching had any illusion about that. Bruce was faster, more precise, more technically advanced in every measurable way. But Jackie had something that technique couldn't account for. He had a body that refused to stop. He had reflexes forged by 10 years of getting hit with canes. He had a chin that could absorb punishment that would drop trained fighters twice his size. And he had something else, something intangible. He had the absolute unshakable belief that getting back up was worth more than never going down. Trust me on this. That quality is rare. It's the rarest thing in fighting, rarer than speed, rarer than power, rarer than technique. The willingness to get hit and keep coming. Most people, even great fighters, have a threshold, a point where the pain or the fear or the exhaustion tells their body to quit. Jackie Chan either didn't have that threshold or he'd buried it so deep that nothing could reach it. Bruce threw a hook kick that caught Jackie across the shoulder. Jackie staggered, planted his foot, and threw a counter that Bruce weaved. Bruce came back with a straight lead that snapped Jackie's head sideways. The crowd gasped. Jackie's feet stuttered, but he found his base, shook his head once, and raised his hands again. And then Bruce stopped. He just stopped, dropped his hands, stood there, chest rising and falling, staring at Jackie Chan like he was seeing him for the first time. The crowd held its breath. Bruce walked toward Jackie. Not in a fighting posture, just walked the way you walk toward someone you need to talk to. He stopped about 2 feet away. Jackie's hands were still up. His left eye was starting to swell. His elbow was bleeding. His ribs ached from that first body shot, but he didn't lower his guard. Not yet. Bruce reached out and put his hand on Jackie's shoulder. I want to tell you what this meant. In the hierarchy of Hong Kong martial arts cinema, physical contact from Bruce Lee was either violence or benediction. There was no middle ground. And this was not violence. You've got something, Bruce said, quietly, not into the microphone, just to Jackie. It's not technique, but it's something. Jackie finally lowered his hands. His fingers were trembling from adrenaline. He nodded once. Bruce turned back to the crowd and continued his demonstration with other stuntmen. The moment was over, but every single person in that crowd of 3,000 knew they'd just watched something they weren't supposed to see. They'd watched a crack appear in the armor of a god. Not because Bruce was weak, but because Jackie was something Bruce hadn't accounted for. Now here's where the story takes a turn that most people don't know about. After the demonstration, Bruce didn't speak to Jackie for 3 days, completely ignored him on set. Jackie did his stunt work, took his falls, went home bruised, and came back the next morning. Business as usual. But on the 4th day, one of the assistant directors pulled Jackie aside and told him Bruce wanted to see him in his private training room after rap. Jackie walked into that room at 7 in the evening. Bruce was alone, hitting the wooden dummy, the mukyanjong, the training device that Wing Chun practitioners use to develop hand positioning and flow. The sound of Bruce's forearms striking the wooden arms filled the small room with a rhythmic clacking that sounded almost musical. Bruce didn't stop when Jackie entered. He kept hitting the dummy for another full minute. Jackie stood by the door, waiting, watching, trying to read the situation. Was he about to get fired? Was he about to get beaten? Both seemed equally possible. Bruce stopped, turned around. His forearms were red from the impacts. He looked at Jackie with an expression that Jackie would later describe as the most honest face he'd ever seen on the man. No performance, no image. Just Bruce Lee standing in a room, being real. Sit down, Bruce said. Jackie sat on the floor. There were no chairs. Bruce sat across from him, cross-legged, close enough that their knees almost touched. And then Bruce Lee said something that Jackie would carry with him for the rest of his life. I was wrong about you. In front of those people, I said you couldn't fight. That was me being scared. Jackie blinked. Did Bruce Lee just say he was scared? Bruce continued. When you came at me and you wouldn't stop getting up, I felt something I don't feel often. I felt like I could hit you forever and you'd never stay down. That scared me. Because my whole system is built on efficiency, ending things fast. And you're the opposite. You're built to last. I don't know what to do with that. Jackie didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. He just sat there, cross-legged, looking at the most famous martial artist in the world admitting a fear. Here's what nobody else will tell you about this moment. Bruce Lee was not a man who admitted weakness, ever, to anyone. His entire public persona was built on invincibility. He moved through the world as if doubt didn't exist in his vocabulary. For him to sit across from a 20-year-old stuntman and say the words that scared me was an act of vulnerability so far outside his character that Jackie spent years wondering if he'd imagined it. He hadn't. Bruce reached behind him and picked up 2 small wooden blocks, training tools used for grip strength. He handed one to Jackie. "Squeeze that," Bruce said. "As hard as you can." Jackie squeezed. His knuckles went white. Harder. Jackie squeezed until his forearm burned. "Now hold it." Jackie held it. 10 seconds. 20. 30. His hands started shaking. At 45 seconds, his fingers opened involuntarily and the block clattered to the floor. Bruce was still holding his. His hand wasn't shaking at all. He held it for another 10 seconds, then set it down gently. "That's the difference between us right now," Bruce said. "Not talent, not heart. Discipline over your own body. You have heart that most fighters would kill for. But heart without control is a firework. Burns bright, burns fast, goes out. I want to show you control." And for the next 3 weeks, while filming continued during the day, Bruce Lee trained Jackie Chan privately at night. No one else knew. Not the stunt coordinator, not the director, not the other stuntmen. Just the 2 of them, in that small room, working on fundamentals that Jackie had never learned at opera school. Bruce taught him centerline theory, how to position your body so that your most vital targets are always protected while your weapons are always deployed. He taught him economy of motion, how to remove every unnecessary movement from a technique until all that's left is the strike itself. He taught him breathing under pressure, how to manage your oxygen when your body is screaming for more. And Jackie absorbed it all with a hunger that surprised even Bruce. The kid learned fast, not in the way that prodigies learn, where everything clicks instantly. Jackie learned the hard way, through repetition, through failure, through doing things wrong 100 times until his body simply refused to do them wrong anymore. Bruce would correct him, Jackie would fail, Bruce would correct him again, Jackie would fail better. It was slow, grinding work, and Jackie loved it. But here's the twist. Are you paying attention? Jackie took everything Bruce taught him, and he used almost none of it the way Bruce intended. See, Bruce was trying to make Jackie into a better version of a Bruce Lee fighter. Efficient, direct, devastating. But Jackie's brain worked differently. Jackie took the principles, the centerline theory, the economy of motion, and he ran them backward. Instead of using them to attack more efficiently, Jackie used them to react more efficiently. Instead of becoming a better striker, he became a better receiver. He figured out how to position his body so he could take hits with minimum damage while maximizing the visual impact for the camera. Bruce was teaching him to kill. Jackie was learning to survive, and to make surviving look spectacular. This realization hit Bruce about 2 weeks into their private training. They were sparring lightly, and Bruce threw a combination that should have driven Jackie backward. Instead, Jackie absorbed the first 2 strikes on his forearms using the centerline defense Bruce had taught him, then deliberately dropped his guard on the 3rd strike, letting it graze his jaw while he spun with the impact into a dramatic backward roll that ended with him popping up on his feet, arms spread wide, grinning. It was pure performance, pure cinema, and it was built on a foundation of legitimate technique. Bruce stopped. He stared at Jackie for a long moment. "You're not going to fight like me, are you?" Bruce said. It wasn't really a question. Jackie shook his head. "I'm going to fight like me." Bruce did something then that Jackie said he'd never seen before. Bruce Lee laughed. Not a polite laugh, not a controlled laugh, a real one from his belly, loud and surprised and almost helpless. He laughed because he understood. He'd tried to make a weapon, and instead he'd sharpened a mirror. Jackie wasn't going to be the next Bruce Lee. Jackie was going to be the anti-Bruce Lee, the guy who gets hit instead of the guy who hits, the guy who makes you laugh instead of the guy who makes you gasp. And in that laughter, Bruce saw something that maybe scared him a little bit more. He saw the future. Because Bruce Lee's brand of martial arts cinema, the invincible hero, the perfect warrior, that was a product of its time. Bruce knew, on some level, that audiences would eventually want something different. They'd want vulnerability. They'd want humor. They'd want to see a hero who bleeds, who stumbles, who gets his face dragged across the pavement and still gets up with a joke. Jackie Chan was that hero, and Bruce Lee, to his eternal credit, recognized it. Now let me jump forward. The training ended when Fist of Fury wrapped. Bruce went on to make Way of the Dragon and then Enter the Dragon, cementing his legacy as the greatest martial arts star who ever lived. Jackie went back to being a stuntman, a nobody, taking falls and breaking bones for tiny paychecks. Then, in 1973, Bruce Lee died. He was 32 years old, and Hong Kong cinema went into a free fall. Every studio scrambled to find the next Bruce Lee. They tried everything. They hired Bruce lookalikes. They made movies called things like Bruce Lee Fights Back from the Grave. No, I'm not making that up. It was real. And during all of this, every studio kept trying to force Jackie Chan into the Bruce Lee mold. They gave him serious roles. They gave him invincible characters. They told him to be tough, stoic, and unbeatable. Movie after movie flopped. Jackie Chan as a Bruce Lee clone was a disaster. The audience could smell the imitation. It was wrong. It didn't fit. Jackie spent 5 years failing, and every failure was a reminder that he was not Bruce Lee and could never be Bruce Lee and should stop trying to be Bruce Lee. Then, in 1978, a director named Yuen Wu-ping gave Jackie something nobody else had. He gave him permission to be himself. The movie was Snake in the Eagle's Shadow, and for the first time, Jackie played a character who was not invincible. The character was clumsy, funny, vulnerable, and wildly creative. He got beaten up constantly. He made mistakes. He improvised solutions out of desperation, not mastery. And the audience went absolutely insane for it. The film was a massive hit. Jackie followed it with Drunken Master the same year, playing a guy who literally fights better when he's drunk. The comedy, the acrobatics, the willingness to get hurt and look foolish, it was everything Bruce Lee was not. And the audience loved it so much that Jackie Chan became the biggest movie star in Asia within 2 years. Let me tell you what actually happened. What really happened. Jackie Chan didn't just become a star, he did something much bigger than that. He created an entirely new genre. Before Jackie, martial arts movies were about superiority. The hero was better than everyone. After Jackie, martial arts movies could be about struggle. The hero could be worse than everyone and still win, not through perfection, but through sheer stubborn refusal to quit. That quality, that stubbornness, that was the same thing Bruce Lee saw in that training yard in 1971, when Jackie kept getting up. When Jackie ate every punch and came back with his hands raised and his face bleeding and a grin that said, "You're going to have to do better than that." Bruce told 3,000 people that Jackie Chan couldn't fight. And Bruce was right, in the narrowest technical sense. Jackie couldn't fight like Bruce. He couldn't fight with that laser precision, that theoretical perfection, that almost mathematical approach to combat. But Jackie could do something Bruce couldn't. "I can take it." 3 words. That was Jackie's answer. Not shouted, not thrown in Bruce's face, spoken quietly to himself in that training room on a night when Bruce had pushed him harder than usual, and Jackie was sitting on the floor with blood dripping from his nose, looking at his own reflection in the polished wooden dummy. "I can take it." That was the whole philosophy, the whole career, the whole legend. Jackie Chan built an empire on the simple, brutal, beautiful idea that the man who gets up one more time than he gets knocked down is the man who wins. Not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most technically perfect, the most stubborn, the most willing to bleed. And you know what? By the time Jackie Chan was selling out arenas and breaking box office records across the world, he always credited Bruce Lee. Always. In every interview where the subject came up, Jackie would say the same thing. He'd say Bruce Lee was the greatest martial artist he'd ever seen. He'd say Bruce changed his life. He'd say those 3 weeks of private training gave him the foundation for everything. But then Jackie would pause, and his eyes would get this faraway look, and he'd add one more thing. He said I couldn't fight, and he was right. I couldn't fight, but I could get hit, and I could get back up, and it turns out that matters more. If this story hit you, if you felt something in your chest when Jackie stood up bleeding in front of 3,000 people and refused to go down, then hit subscribe, because I've got more stories where this came from, and they're only going to get better. Now let me leave you with the part of this story that most people never hear. The very last thing. In 2008, 35 years after Bruce Lee's death, Jackie Chan visited Bruce's grave in Seattle. It was raining. Jackie stood there alone, no cameras, no entourage, just a 60-year-old man with a body held together by titanium screws and scar tissue, standing in front of a headstone. He didn't say much. Jackie's never been a man of long speeches when the moment is real. He bowed, and then he placed something on the gravestone. A small wooden block, a grip training block, the same kind Bruce had used that night in the training room when he'd shown Jackie the difference between heart and discipline. Jackie had kept it for 37 years. He set it on the stone, stepped back, and stood there in the rain for a long time, saying nothing. Because some conversations don't need words, some debts don't need repayment, and some legends don't need endings. They just keep going, carried forward by every person who hears them and thinks maybe I can take it too. That's the story. That's what happened when Bruce Lee told 3,000 spectators that Jackie Chan couldn't fight. Jackie didn't argue. He didn't shout. He didn't prove Bruce wrong in the way you'd expect. He proved him wrong by becoming something Bruce never imagined. Not a better fighter, a better survivor. The best survivor the movies have ever seen. And somewhere, wherever Bruce Lee is, I'd bet everything I own that he's watching Jackie Chan, still getting up, still taking the hit, still grinning through the blood, and he's doing exactly what he did in that training room in 1971. He's laughing.